Thank you for joining us at Ship 25. It's so awesome to have you here. Now, we build Octopus Deploy to help you deliver changes to production quickly and safely. Because when your code isn't deployed, it contributes to Ava's growing backlog of Jira tickets. They're just waiting to be closed. Or Barbara's big idea for the business that might get disrupted by competitors. Or Charlie's frustration growing as the same bug keeps getting in their way, even though the fix is code complete. I'm Colin Bowern, SVP of Product, and today I'm going to share with you stories that highlight some of the key investments that the 170 Octonauts in R&D have been working on over these last year or so. Now, these days, we're all expected to do more with less, move faster with AI, and still, we don't hear as many of those success stories from the teams as we would hope. Hear instead platform engineers spending a lot of time on basic support, helping application engineers troubleshoot the very platform that was meant to make their work easier. We hear from infrastructure engineers who wonder why people aren't excited about all the new ideas they're bringing to the table in the hosting platforms that they so lovingly crafted with platform engineers. And of course, application and DevOps engineers are still dealing with a never ending backlog and barely have time to catch their breath. For some, using AI agents hasn't made their job any easier. But as technologists, we can bring calm and order to this fast and stressful pace. We want more stories like Ubisoft, who've reduced the time consuming and error prone manual tasks around deployment. And now they can deploy new releases in minutes. We want more like Eurofins, who deploy to 950 labs in 60 countries. By modeling their deployment processes across these locations, they now do hundreds of deployments every day. But maybe you've been where Scandia was, stuck with quarterly deployments. But now they do 10,000 deployments a month, making a huge shift to frequent and on demand releases. And then there's Olo, who renovated their deployment process and now deploy several times a day. And they often release single ticket changes, which directly reduce the support work for their engineers. We already have the technology to make this happen. And so that's why it's our mission at Octopus, and it has and always will be, to find the best ways to get changes into production quickly and safely. We want every team to work as well as the best teams and to share those practices without making things harder, because we believe it should be as easy to work with on day 300 as it was on day one. And we've been working to broaden the capabilities and deepen the capabilities of Octopus so that you can model continuous delivery for your team, your business unit, or your organization as a whole. Now, our product teams have been focused on three areas. If you were with us last year, you'll have heard of these before because we told you the stories and some of these the start and some of these the depth. We've taken them even further. Kubernetes is the new default computing platform for many organizations. And our goal is to simply make container based apps feel familiar and simple, like they've always been with every other app. We want Kubernetes not to be overwhelming for the average engineer. So we've been building on what Argo CD started and put GitOps practices and principles in practice to create a familiar experience for developers while unlocking how platform engineers want to work. And speaking of platform engineers, they have a tough job. They need to reduce variation and manage risk across many different applications and architectures. We've got some unique ideas about how to make this possible. We're introducing a dedicated space called Platform Hub to bring these ideas to life. And of course, developers always being asked to do more with less. And we aim to keep their work simple, help them stay focused, and improve the feedback they get by making routine tasks easier and infusing AI where it truly is useful. We're helping you support your developers with practical features. All the same reasons you chose Octopus instead of building your own CD solution. Let's take a closer look at what we've been working on in some of these areas. Octopus was created to make complex deployments easier across a range of hosting platforms. Deployments have always been complicated, and moving to Kubernetes has made them even more challenging for some organizations. Kubernetes has helped more teams use microservices by making it simpler to deploy small services. It's also made it easier to create new environments quickly and deploy consistently across different clouds and private data centers, as well as the edge. However, it's also made some of those deployment processes more complex. At Octopus, we viewed this as added complexity as an opportunity to improve how deployments are managed. And so we asked ourselves, how could we keep deployments simple and scalable while taking advantage of all the great things that our Kubernetes has to offer? So getting started with tools like Argo CD and learning GitOps basics It's pretty simple. You can go from kube control apply to saving changes in control and then watching them sync without much trouble. When you work with one or a few components, this process is pretty straightforward. It gives us a taste of what configuration management and change management have been trying to do for years. Any ITIL folks in the audience, you know what I mean. And any architecture workflow seems simple when everything goes as planned. But once you have to handle differences or changes, things get complicated really quickly. And we really see how robust new practices are when we try and use them across many different applications. Now, while each application runs in its own container, they can have a variety of configuration options and dependencies that span namespaces, clusters, regions, tenants, and so much more. And this usually depends on these applications typically also depend on things possibly outside the cluster, which need to be included in the workflow. And this will lead to thousands of YAML files, a mix of scripts and operators, all with different levels of quality. And so this is why maybe some of the platform engineers at KubeCon Atlanta joked that they were really just YAML engineers. Argo CD and GitOps principles are important parts of the process, but by themselves, they do not fully solve how to move changes from development to test to production. You'll likely fill in the missing parts by writing scripts and templates with your own rules and models. And while you may understand them well, the question is, will the next person find them as clear as you did? So I ask you to ask yourself, can the CI/CD pipelines that you are building today be maintained over time? Can somebody else easily change it? Will it meet the audit and compliance standards? And most importantly, would you be proud to present your approach at the next shift? We're always looking for speakers. We really want to hear your stories, not just for us, but for everybody else as well. So when you automate a process, making it work on day one is just the beginning. The real test is whether it still is easy and enjoyable to use 300 days later. And so we've been working to make Kubernetes CD easier for everyone to use. With over a decade of CD focus across a variety of hosting platforms, we have learned what's important to maintain and where to expose concepts in more native ways. We see familiar challenges with Kubernetes. We believe there are concepts that should always feel familiar, like environment progression, while others, like resource state, should feel more native. Everyone is after the same goal, knowing when has my change been successfully deployed. And we've learned a lot from seeing how thousands of organizations use Kubernetes. And we're thankful that more teams are choosing Octopus for Kubernetes CD. It's giving us the energy and the appetite to build more on the experience by adding Argo CD to Octopus. This brings together what Argo CD is missing, along with familiar features and enterprise tools that you need for your most critical production deployments. So now you can link Argo CD instances with Octopus to manage and monitor your changes directly. And if some teams are not ready to move to Argo CD, it works just as well alongside Helm and Customize and Kube Control Apply, wherever your teams are at. And as part of your GitOps workflows, Octopus can commit changes for you in source control. And we'll verify that those changes have been successful by checking for commits, waiting on pull requests, or Argo CD application health checks. And we're wrapping all of the Kubernetes, Argo CD, and GitOps goodness with the best features of Octopus. That dashboard now shows you object status. You can double click to see which resources are out of sync or unhealthy. You also get Octopus's proven CD capabilities, including environment progression, configuration modeling, runbooks, tenants, and so much more. All of this built on a platform that includes the governance controls needed to restrict actions to authorize people, protect sensitive credentials, and create the audit trail that auditors love. This makes Octopus a strong choice for complex regulated environments that use Kubernetes. And we're going to make it even better. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about Platform Hub, which makes it easier to manage across thousands of microservices. With composable version templates and policies, large-scale systems are becoming significantly more manageable, a breath of fresh air for anyone who's spent their day wrangling thousands of YAML files. But now that we have the foundations for Argo CD and GitOps, we're working to make things even better. As Argo CD maintainers, our goal is to improve your experience, keeping Argo CD focused on its core design and adding the rest of CD around it. We expect to learn and iterate more, and so we're after your feedback as you begin to use Octopus and Argo CD together. For example, we often hear about Argo rollouts, and we're interested in learning how you use it with your application teams. Do the teams often adjust rollout settings, or do you mostly set them as a platform engineer and leave them alone? And we're bringing more Kubernetes CD features to help improve Argo and GitOps. meeting your teams where they are in their Kubernetes journey. So please keep sharing that feedback and ideas so we can all work together to deliver Kubernetes CD for everyone. Speaking of platform engineers, though, they aim to onboard, operate, and troubleshoot for their simplify onboarding, operations, and troubleshooting for their organization's hosting platforms. They need to make these processes easy and effective across different applications and architectures. And this that can be tough when you consider the tools they have, the approaches they might be taking, and how they actually hold up over time. And so there are a number of ways that platform teams to set up templates. They could orchestrate creation through a developer portal using templating tooling to generate instances and create something that might achieve compliance through ITSM and SIEM integrations. And on day one, this is an ideal situation. Everyone follows the same process, enjoys the same benefits, and uses the same tools. The challenge they have is after almost a year, these problems begin to emerge. The platform team might decide to change from Splunk to Datadog, or the application team that's using one of the templates might look for a new tool. They might find Helm too difficult, or want to try Customize, or prefer to use the latest tool in the ecosystem. Now we've got teams moving in different directions. And as a result, the burden falls to the platform team. They need to support and learn additional tools that the company does not officially support. They need to create complex workflows to manage these differences and find ways to keep teams informed. And they need to troubleshoot failed deployments caused by unknown changes, unknown tools, all which may in the end waste valuable time. A typical response to these sorts of problems is for platform engineers to become the only one to be able to make changes to pipelines and runbooks. And really, what you end up with is Operations 2.0, where instead of passing the problems to operations, developers now pass them to platform teams. And this means that your platform engineers end up spending time on low value tasks like debugging individual failed deployments. As a result, platform engineers try to cover every use case and build these really complex templates for everyone. But we all know that when you try and make something for everyone, it ends up working for no one. Platform Hub is unlike any other feature we've built at Octopus. It's a multi-year investment focused on solving problems that platforms engineers face every single day. Our goal is to help teams standardize all or parts of their pipelines, getting best practices out of the box and staying up to date as templates and policies change over time. We're making sure that it works just as well for new users on the first day as it does for the teams that'll be maintaining those projects months and years later. And we're making sure that templates are flexible enough to cover most needs while still letting application teams add their own details without losing any of the benefits of templates, and in particular, connected version templates. And we're including policies and compliance features to make reporting easy and exception management smooth so that auditors are satisfied and teams spend less time gathering audit evidence. We aim to do more than just give you templates and rules. Our design goal is to ensure that deployment pipelines are accessible to everyone, no black boxes. Just like how we made it easy to hand the deploy button to others, we want to do the same for platform engineers. Platform engineers are working together with application teams rather than making decisions without their input. We want their approach to allow the teams to share the right knowledge and collaborate so that because platform engineers understand company policies and the tools in the deployment pipeline, while application teams know their applications and what's needed to run it. And we believe that what we really want to do is improve the communication, visibility, and teamwork between these two groups by using shared tools. However, we also know that not every team will want the same level of collaboration. We'll have to support teams with all preferences, from teams that just want to hand over their artifacts to those who want to build and manage most or all of their pipeline. So this year, we released process templates. These are a key part of our approach to composable version templating. Now, if you've been waiting for composable step templates, this is an update for you. We focused on making them both powerful and easy to manage in all the ways that you've been asking for. Process templates is now available, and it covers things like multi-step templates for deployments and runbooks, versioning and syncing, including really unique push and pull technology, and injecting custom steps before and after. Now, while looking at platform teams' work, we realize it's also important to separate policies from templates. Policies are the guardrail to prevent unwanted situations, and auditors often want evidence that these policies both exist and are effective. And so we added policies using Open Policy Agent so the checks are easy to see, understand, and audit. and you can choose whether you want to warn or block depending on the risk appetite of your pipeline. And to meet compliance needs, we started by building the policy engine. And we understand that you want visibility into policy evaluations, so we will record all of them in the audit log. And we'll also log out any deployments that happen without a policy evaluation. And since all of this is in the audit log, you can stream it to your SIEM and use those tools to set up alerts when you want to capture all the events that you want. And of course, the audit log lets you filter results and export them to CSV. But this is just the beginning in the compliance space. We've got a lot more to come in this space over the next year. So over the next few months, we plan to add templates at the project level to make onboarding simpler and to make maintaining projects at scale even easier. We'd also like to learn how you handle compliance in your organization, because our goal is to improve exception management so that it works well for both ongoing and rare exceptions. And your feedback will, of course, help us influence Platform Hub, this really critical multi-year investment for us at a very near important time where we want your feedback. Now, at Octopus, we also care about helping teams deploy more often. It's what we do. And developer experience for us isn't just a fad, it's part of what we think about with every feature we ship. And before we go any further, I want you to know that our goal is to help developers not only deploy quickly, but also lower failure rates, recover faster, and get the feedback all while staying focused. We believe this is the way to great developer experience. And so we're looking for all kinds of ways to remove the distractions that break engineers' focus. We're building experiences to work from the tools they already use. And we want to cut down on that context switching to make sure that teams stay focused to get more done. One example of this is your team may be already looking at how AI tools fit into your workflow. Well, we've just released an MCP server, so you can add Octopus to those workflows. And this is built after several years of working with GitHub on Copilot. We see this as a way for you to try out new ways of working by connecting your tools together. And it's open source and welcomes contributions. And most of all, we would love to hear how you use it. And we're also thoughtfully adding AI to the experiences where it can clearly improve how developers work and get feedback. Recovery Agent helps people quickly understand what happened, what steps to take next. And we really hope this is another tool that will help ease the support workload for DevOps and platform engineers everywhere. But sometimes issues happen because of a series of events or leave behind clues that are useful to look into. And we want to help you track back what has happened by adding the deployment timeline to the environment and tenant views. We think this will make it easier to see the history and connect some dots that might not be so obvious or not quite ready for an AI agent like the recovery agent to figure out. As the year wraps up, many organizations are entering that wonderful period known as the change freeze. And we want to cut down on those messages on Slack, like no more changes from Friday for 2 weeks, because we've introduced deployment freezes. And now you can set freezes by project, environment, tenant, schedule regular freezes to run automatically, and use overrides for more urgent situations. Now, when you need to act fast, like when an application goes down or a critical security patch is needed, it's now easier than ever to prioritize deployments. And you can do this at the task level for those unexpected issues, at the deployment or runbook level for urgent work, and at the lifecycle level for important environments. But that's not all. There are plenty of other things I won't have time to cover today. And so if you subscribe to our newsletter, follow our What's New feed, you're probably aware or have heard of these changes. But if you haven't checked out what's new in a while, I encourage you to see what we've released over the past year. These are updates designed to help you reduce cognitive load, improve flow state, and make feedback loops even better, whether you're inside Octopus, administering Octopus, or scaling Octopus. Now, we have still a lot to do here, and plenty of new ideas that we want to share. For example, we've been testing feature toggles ourselves as a way to release changes to users without needing a deployment. And we're excited to add this to Octopus, giving you all the value in the box, including the audit and compliance controls that you want. We're also looking for how to add SBOMs and other types of metadata to help you better understand what is associated with the release and other Octo things. And changes is just the beginning for us as we explore what the next generation of continuous delivery will look like. Please keep an eye out for updates on this one. I really look forward to sharing with you some of the great ideas that we're baking in the years ahead. And of course, if you can't use GitHub in the cloud, we're going to make it possible to use the GitHub app with self-host setups too. So Octopus is built by a team of over 170 people in R&D, and along with many others who work with you through support and sales. And your feedback helps us improve our product, helps us improve our customer experience. We're always eager to learn with you as we build. And in some of the sessions today and tomorrow, we'll share with you what we've learned and experienced. And I'm looking forward to showing with you what we've done, why we've made certain choices, and what we've discovered along the way. And we try and turn whatever we learn from our research into publications to help you understand the latest trends and what people are actually experiencing in the real world, not just what you're hearing on social media. So we'll have sessions over the next 2 days that will explore a bunch of topics in detail from Octonauts, as well as stories from real world customers deploying changes just like you and me. So thank you for choosing to ship with Octopus Deploy. We really hope that these sessions that we've put together will help you learn from others about how they get changes into production quickly and safely, and how you can help every team work like the best team. Happy deployments.